listening to Unravel with Natly Denise.
What's up, chat? How are you guys doing? Oh, you know what I just remembered? I just remembered that I didn't do prayer live today. Oops, on my Instagram, and I usually do on Mondays. Yikes. I thought about it like 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes before I was supposed to do it. And what the heck? Why did I forget? That's not good. Whoops. My goodness. Well, what's up, chat? How are you guys doing today? Happy start of the week. Lots already going on, it seems to be. Lots going on. My goodness. First of all, what's going on with Kanye? That's what I want to know. Kanye's been going off the rails. Kanye's been going off the rails. Okay, we went through Psalm 6 yesterday, so let's, or Friday. We're going to go through Psalm 7. We're going to do like half of Psalm 7 and then half not, as we usually do. What's been going on? Okay, so this weekend I got really busy. I did not watch the Super Bowl at all. Did you guys watch the Super Bowl? Happy Valentine's Day. Oh, happy Valentine. I forgot it was Valentine's Day. Oops. Whoops. I've been so busy, guys. Hey, word to all the singles out there. Stay busy. Stay busy. Stay busy. All the singles out there. Not singles, the singles. If you're single, stay busy, guys. Like, fulfill your purpose. Work on your dreams. Continue working. Continue grinding. I completely forgot it was Valentine's Day, to be honest. I thought about it for like a second because I saw a balloon. And then I went to go get my salad from Chick-fil-A, and then I forgot about it. I completely forgot. So happy Singles Awareness Day to those that are single like me. How about, and then happy Valentine's Day for those that do celebrate Valentine's Day. I hope that when my day comes, when I find the love of my life, that it's Valentine's Day every day. You know what I mean? Like, we celebrate each other every single day. We don't need a day to celebrate our love. You understand? Like, we should love each other unconditionally, without conditions, without stipulations, without expectancies to do certain things for the other person in order for them to love you. Like, it should be unconditional love. You feel me? That's what I want. That's what I pray for. I pray for an unconditional love, a godly man that will lead me, not me having to. Gosh, it's such a drag. You understand? It is such a drag when you are a godly woman and you have to lead the dude. My gosh, guys, like, it is such a drag. It is so much work to have to lead a dude who is not godly, lead a dude into reading scripture, lead a dude to, okay, here, let me feed you a verse. This is how you read it. Like, oh my gosh. Like, no offense to dudes out there that don't read scripture. But for me, like, you're my channel, you're listening to my podcast. It is so much work. It is so much work having to feed somebody verses and then be your partner. Like, it is, I'm feeding myself every single day with scripture now. And, I just realize every single time that I read scripture every morning, at night when I do this, it says in the word that you should dwell on the word day and night. That's how much we should be in the word. And I've started to realize this, like, how much reading the Bible, like reading scripture, it's not just like you read it. You know what I mean? You know how, like, when you're studying something like literature, or you're studying for, like, something in your studies, you're just reading through things and you kind of like don't even perceive what you're reading sometimes because you're not really that interested. It's not like that with scripture. With scripture, it's as if it's like refreshing your spiritual eyes. It's like it's refreshing your spiritual senses. It's as if it's taking a rag and it's wiping off these spiritual senses of yours as you read it. And then it simultaneously, it gives you knowledge, it gives you insight, your discernment is more like keen. It's so much more than just reading scripture. So if you're not into scripture, I would recommend that you get into scripture, read it every day, and again, with my podcast, I'm going to dedicate the first few moments in scripture with you guys, because I really want to do this where, we experience this together as a podcast. Maya says, OMG, it's so draining, and I've been doing it with my best friend, and that's a beautiful man. Ugh, I know. I know. Hey, what's up, Alyssa? That's my friend, Alyssa. What's going on, Alyssa? Yes, we're going to talk about Trudeau. I actually did a video. Actually, I need to upload it. I just did a video on Trudeau declaring war on his people. It's about to upload right now on my main YouTube. So by the time this podcast is done, you guys will have another fresh video to look at. All right, let's go ahead and start out with 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘢. And actually, I began the book of Daniel, so I'm going to kind of flip-flop between the two. So I'll do the Psalms one night, and then the next night I'll do like Daniel once I'm done. Maybe at the end of the week I'll do Daniel. Let's do Fridays. I'll do Daniel because I kind of marinate on one book, study it very thoroughly, and then I'll post it like something like Daniel. You know what I mean? All right. Okay, let's get started. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. All right, Psalm 7. We just went through Psalm 6. We're just going to go through half of Psalm 7, and then we'll do the other half tomorrow. But let's see what Psalm 7 has to offer. It says, this is a Shiagon of David, which he sang to the Lord concerning Cush, a Benjamite. Lord my God, I take refuge in you. Save and deliver me from all who pursue me, or they will tear me apart like a lion and rip me to pieces with no one to rescue me. So here, let's take it first two verses. Lord my God, I take refuge in you. Save and deliver me from all who pursue me, or they will tear me apart like a lion and rip me to pieces. Now, what did we just from the past, in Psalm 6, the psalmist actually talks about this. It talks about like, Lord, if you don't deliver me, who's going to proclaim your name if I'm dead? You have one less believer on this earth if you allow me to die in the situation. So as we move forward into 7, it talks about God's deliverance. Lord, my God, I take refuge in you. Save me and deliver me from all who pursue me, or they will tear me apart like a lion and rip me to pieces with no one to rescue me. Basically, it just keeps kind of escalating in its anguish. Like, God, if you don't, God knows what's going to happen to you. You know what I mean? He's God. God's going to know what the heck's going to happen to you. But here the psalmist, the Shiagon, the writer of the Psalms is saying, Lord, please rescue me. You're the only one. You're the last one. You're the last bet for me. You're the only one who can deliver me from the situation. And he kind of illustrates that. Look, they're going to tear me to pieces like a lion. He continues, Lord my God, if I have done this, there is guilt on my hands. If I have repaid my ally with evil or without cause have robbed my foe, then let my enemy pursue and overtake me. Let him trample my life to the ground and make me sleep in the dust. So here, David is proclaiming, look, from what I believe, the way that I have walked blamelessly, if I have done these things to my foes, to his enemies that are pursuing him, then just let me die. If I am to blame out of all of this that has caused all of my enemies to pursue me this way, then fine, let it be, Lord. Just take me. Let it be what it is. I thought I walked blameless, but if this is so that I have let this up to my enemies pursuing me, then let me die. That's how much faith that David has proclaiming his blameless walk with God. He has walked hand in hand. He has walked in tangent with God and his guidance. And he's saying, look, listen, if I did something along the way that you have not given me grace on, then I guess just take me. Not afraid. So it's like he's afraid of death, but then he's not afraid of death. Then it says, it continues here, arise, Lord, in your anger, rise up against the rage of my enemies. Awake, my God, decree justice. Let the assembled peoples gather around you while you sit enthroned over them on high. Let the Lord judge the peoples. Vindicate me, Lord, according to my righteousness, according to my integrity, O Most High. Actually, I'm going to finish with 9. Bring to an end the violence of the wicked and make the righteous secure. You, the righteous God who probes minds and hearts. All right, let's take it back up. Arise, Lord, in your anger. Rise up against the rage of my enemies. Awake, my God, decree justice. So David has been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And this should illustrate our wait as well. In whatever trial that we're going through, we're waiting and waiting and waiting. Some of us have been waiting a long time, right? A long time. And here this illustrates the same. David was a king. David was a person enthroned. You know, he was nobility. And even he had to wait on God. Awake, my God, decree justice. When is it, God? When will you decree justice? When will your hand be against my enemies? The way I know you can. He's already declared in the other Psalms that we went through how the Lord detests liars, cheaters, gaslighters, you know, people who just spin all these slanders. God hates that. And David has declared that in his word. Look, I know this is of your nature, God. I know you hate this. And so here he declares it here. Awake, God, decree my justice. Let the assembled peoples gather around you while you sit enthroned over them on high. Let the Lord judge the peoples. Vindicate me, Lord. According to my righteousness, according to my integrity, O Most High, bring an end to the violence of the wicked and make the righteous secure. These are things that he knows that God can do very easily in a snap of a finger. In the moment of time, God can do these things where he makes the righteous secure, where he makes the righteous, feel just at peace. And at times, even in his despair, he feels at peace. He goes to sleep very peacefully sometimes. And in these Psalms, he's like, you know what, God, I'm just going to leave it up. Sometimes he's in anguish. God, I weep. My couch is full of tears. What we just learned in Psalm 6. But here in Psalm 7, he's saying, God, he laments first. We're seeing this pattern of lament. He laments first in the first 1 through 5, God, I take refuge in you. They're going to rip me to pieces. Then here's his praise. Arise, Lord, in your anger. This is faith. Let the Lord judge the peoples. Vindicate me, Lord, according to my righteousness, according to my integrity, O Most High. David knows what his heart is truly. He's not hiding. He's being upfront and honest with God. Look, God, you know my heart because I have been declaring my heart in front of you. I have been honest with my heart, my intentions, my integrity. You know that these things that they're making up about me, you know that these things are not true, God. And we share that directly. God, I'm speaking to you every single day. It says, bring an end to the violence of the wicked and make the righteous secure. You, the righteous God, who probes minds and hearts. So here, David is even going through the dissection of how God can touch minds and hearts. And shouldn't that be hope for us that we cannot do it ourselves? We can't do that ourselves. We think that we can change the minds of the wicked. We try to even dialogue with these wicked people. Like, listen, the things that you're talking about with me are not true. These are not true things. Look, I'm even giving evidence. These are things that I'm debunking right here in front of your face. They don't care. The wicked are narcissists. They are narcissistic. They are communal narcissists. They feed off of each other. So they will source their own lies with their own lies. Their own people are their own sources. You see this a lot. You see a lot of people who are gaslit within your communities, people who lie on you, people who hate on you. Their sources are their own sources. They will source these lies off of their lies, and they will feed off of each other. And here he's saying, listen, you are the only one who can probe minds and hearts. You're the only one that can infiltrate and invade a heart and a mind. And let that be our peace, that we can't dialogue and banter with these haters. We can't dialogue and banter with people who are wicked at heart and in their mind and in their soul. We can't do that. It took God. It took an entire Jesus Christ to die on a cross in order for him to get the keys in hell for 3 days, for him to overcome all of evil. So think about that. When you think that you can wrestle and you can dialogue and banter with these haters who are narcissistic and wicked at heart, think about it. It took an entire God to die on a cross, go to hell for 3 days to get the keys, come back up resurrected in order for him to overcome evil. Think about that. So let that be a rest, that it's truly not in your hands with these really, truly evil people who want nothing but the worst for you. Your haters, your slanderers, people who make up lies, who lie on you. They triangulate with people who also want to hate on you. Don't let that be your fight. Give it up to God and relinquish it and be in peace. Because we see that in the Psalms a lot of times where he's just like, you know what? I'm at peace. Because I can't do this fight myself. I can't fight this myself. And I truly know it's in your hands. So let that be your peace. Woo, man, I get all fired up with these. Okay, let's see what you're doing. Keem has a good word right here. Keem says, Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not into thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. In every single way. And we're not perfect. I know we're all human and we all get into our little humanistic things, but try to keep in mind that if you trust in God with your heart and lean not in your understanding, because your heart is a device. And you see the world saying, as long as you're happy, whatever your heart desires, whatever makes you happy, that's the worst advice ever, because your heart is deceitful. It says in Psalms 81 that your heart deceives you, so don't give your heart to the world. Don't depend on your own worldly understanding. Give it up to God, a supernatural being that created the earth. He knows your entire being, your entire creation. Give it to him and depend on him. So it's two things. You give your heart to God, you give your understanding to God, and then you depend on God. I guess it's three things. You give your heart, and then you depend and you trust, right? So there's a lot of intricate steps in that. You got to give your heart up to God, and then you have to depend on his ordinance, his guidance, his compass for your life. And he's going to help you through these things where it's like, I don't even know how to navigate through this, right? I don't even know how to navigate through this situation. So don't worry. Give these things up to God, and he's going to be your best compass. Great word, Keem. Thank you for that. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into the news. Before I do, you know what, guys? I've been thinking, like, I really wish there was like a hangout that had like nothing but 60s music. I should have actually premised that. I wish there was like a hangout. I've been jamming to like 60s music all day. I love 60s music. It's just there's such a like transformative notion to that era. I just love the movies, the music. I feel like maybe I belong in the 60s or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's get started. All right, we're going to actually start with this one. Hackers. This is in my video that I'm uploading, but there were some hackers that actually hacked through Give, Send, Go for the Canadian convoy. And as you guys have seen, the rhetoric really change very fast with Trudeau. And, the Canadian government, the progressives who are like, oh, this is an insurrection on our nation. This is going to destroy democracy. You've heard, things like this from this rhetoric where it's like, hold on, first of all, they're not, I don't see them burning down things. I don't see them, looting. I don't see them doing destructive things, causing violence or anything like that. But this is what they are portraying in their mainstream media about in Canada as well as in the United States. Now, today, and I will explain this in my main video on my main channel, Natly Denise, youtube.com/Natly Denise. Today, Trudeau invoked emergency powers to place more dominion over Canadians. And amongst these powers, they're doing things like they're freezing bank accounts, they're freezing vehicle insurance, but also the deputy prime minister, her name is, I think, 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘬𝘮, something like that. She actually announced that they're going to expand their powers within the looking into terroristic fundraising for terrorists. And so anybody who basically donates to, these crowd funds for the convoy, they're going to somehow crack down on them. Now, the question is, like, how are you going to do that? How are you going to crack down on these people if, this is 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘀𝘀 is American? Well, today we learned that there was a hack. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was slammed by 4 of the country's premiers by invoking the Rarely Used Emergencies Act to bolster police presence across Canada to crack down on the Freedom Convoy. But also, continued on Monday night, one report suggested that tow truck drivers should be compelled and paid to assist the removal of vehicles blocking the bridges. We will not and cannot continue these illegal, dangerous activities to continue. They won't allow it. There are other ways to express yourselves without engaging in illegal and dangerous activity. How did it become illegal? We're not using their emergency powers to call in the military. We're not limiting freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and the people's right to protest freely. Now, I don't know anything about geopolitics in Canada. If there are any Canadians, please chime in. But I don't know what your First Amendment looks like in Canada. But apparently there is some sort of protection in that. But a lot of people are standing up to these tyrannical measures against I'm trying to find 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘀𝘀. A lot of people are coming against these tyrannical measures that that Trudeau just instilled. But hackers, they knocked the fundraising site 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘀 offline in a DDoS attack. They targeted the campaign that raised at least $8.6 million. As you guys know, what was it? GoFundMe. I forget the name because I don't even want to think of the name anymore. GoFundMe actually canceled that campaign and they seized the funds. Now, seems a little illegal to me, but people were they turned over to 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘀 to then donate through there. And now Canada is trying to freeze that. They're trying to stop that. When 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘀 basically said, screw you, we're still going to give the money to the convoy. Very conveniently, there was a hack. The attack on Sunday night redirected visitors to a taunting video from the Disney film Frozen and a message slamming the Freedom Convoy as an insurrection led by known extremists, they say. The unidentified hackers claim to have stolen the list of donors who contributed to the campaign and provided the information to a third-party website, which is now offering to share it with journalists and researchers. The data was analyzed by CBC. You guys know CBC, right? CBC.ca is a very left-leaning publication. They are kind of like the CNN of Canada. And so it looks to be like these hackers. I mean, this just seems like corporate Antifa. Does it not seem like corporate Antifa a little bit? Like they illegally hacked a company for PII, personal identifiable information of a donor. And they handed it over to these journalists, which to me, sometimes these journalists, in a way is like, some of these journalists are activists and not journalists. So anyway, CBC.ca got their hands on this data. They found that 55% of the 92,844 donations have become public from the donors in the United States, while just 39% came from donors located in Canada. While the U.S. donations, including a number of large contributions in some cases from names matching the names of donors to former U.S. President Donald Trump's campaigns, Canadians actually gave more money in total to the convoy protest. Trudeau had previously claimed that at least half of all donations supporting the protest came from foreign sources, including the U.S. What's really funny is that his advice came from a foreign source. Right? How are you going to claim, oh, this came from foreign sources, this monetary funding of this convoy, when the pressure came from President Biden himself to put pressure on the convoy, to put pressure on, deterring the convoy. So wait, what can be foreign and what can't be foreign? You know what I mean? So all of a sudden, this is foreign and it's bad. Foreign, bad. Not if it comes from Biden, though. So this is 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘢𝘀. Apparently, this is a video. Let me see if I can open this. I do want to see. I've never seen this video, so let's see what this encompasses. This was the video. 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘀, the crowdfunding website used by Freedom Convoy, is now redirecting to the domain 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘀.wtf. This is what showed. Wait. Oh, maybe it's not a video? Oh, okay. This is, never mind. I was tricked. It's not a video. What little heifers? But they basically, for those of you listening to me on audio podcasts, it says 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘀 is now frozen. Attention, 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘀 grifters and patriots with an H. The Canadian government has informed you that the money you assholes raised to fund an insurrection is frozen. TD Bank has frozen several accounts. You helped fund the J6 insurrection in the U.S. You helped fund an insurrection in Ottawa. In fact, you are committed to funding anything that keeps the raging fire of misinformation going until that it burns the world's collective democracies down. On behalf of the sane people worldwide who wish to continue living a democracy, I am now telling you that 𝘏𝘶𝘮𝘀 itself is frozen. Wow. That's just, well, it's amazing to me, honestly. And there was like a clip of Frozen playing in the background. So now we can only speculate that Canada is going to become like a police state. We're going to have to see how this turns out, right? Because it looks to be that it very well could get very ugly, because it looks to be that Trudeau has essentially declared war on his own people. That's not me. That's a lot of people's opinion. That's crazy to me that we're witnessing so much in our lifetime. All right, let's pivot on. All right, so what's going on with Kanye? Kanye has been, I just want to understand what's going on, to be honest. I just want to understand what's going on in Kanye's world, Kim's world. Now, I did do a video on this where Kanye seemed to be very, very aggravated at the parenting of Kim. And, I did an entire kind of like breakdown of one example. He was really mad that North, their daughter, was on TikTok at 8 years old doing these like there were like makeup tutorials. And it was more than a makeup tutorial. I know that mainstream media loves to downplay everything. They're like, she was just doing a reindeer tutorial, but really it was kind of, so it was like for a little girl, it was a little bit too much. It was like a little bit salacious. There was like certain poses. And it was just like, I know that that's something she's mimicking from all of these other influencers on TikTok that are doing makeup tutorials, because now makeup tutorials have like, these type of poses and like these kind of like seductive sort of faces and stuff like that. So it looked to be that she was mimicking something like that, right? But for a little girl, they shouldn't be doing that. And I've actually I've argued this before that I really feel that makeup on kids, like especially these makeup tutorials, it seems like a form of grooming to me. And this is just my opinion. That might be a little bit puritanical of me, but it seems a little groomy because, it's one thing. Let me clarify really quick. It's one thing for, for instance, you have a daughter and she sees her mom putting on makeup and she wants to play dress up, right? That's one thing. It's in a controlled environment with her parent who protects her, who is there for her. But then it's another thing to have a child want to do this, and then the parent allows for the public, who you never know who's watching your kid on the internet, in the public eye, put this out and then it go viral. I think that's completely different. I think kids have this natural, I think it's natural for kids to want to like dress up and play, play grown up in a controlled environment. And I think that's completely different when it's in the care of their parents. Versus when you're on TikTok for the world to see, that is completely different. It's completely different. So to me, these viral TikTok videos of these kids putting on makeup, whether it is a girl or a boy, and we have seen many of these content pieces with boys in it, I just think that it's completely harmful. So that's just one example, right, of Kanye versus Kim. But now it seems to be that Kanye is really raging more on this Pete Davidson. And Pete Davidson has allegedly been dating Kim Kardashian. Now, here's the thing, though. Let's play fair, though. Let's play fair. Not that any of this is right. I'm not saying any of this is right. But we've also seen allegations that Kanye West has been dating some other model, right? He's been dating some other model openly. So I really think that before he acts all like this, like he needs to make it right within his own realm as well, right? Like you can't be caught with a woman who's not your wife and then rail against your wife who's with another man. Both don't make it right. Both of it don't make it right. But you see things like this and it's like your daughter's watching, right? Your family's watching. And it doesn't matter whether the family is right or not in the head or in the spirit. It doesn't matter if they're right or not. You need to set the example. And Kanye has been seen and photographed with another woman. So I don't think a lot of people are talking about that, right? But let's make both right. You can't make two wrongs right. Two wrongs don't make a right. So anyway, he has come against Pete Davidson in very public eye. Kim Kardashian allegedly worried someone will hurt Pete because of Kanye. Now, let me go through some of the first initial postings. So he started off with this poster right here. It says, the internet has still not found a decent picture of Skeet. And this was like one of the first. Yo, I thought I was in a meme war. I thought I was in a meme war. People making mean memes of me. Look at this. I thought people were Kanye's over here making mean memes of other people. Skeet against Kim. Again, who is this? Against Lady Gaga, against Taylor Swift. And then it's like Kanye with Drake. And I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Is that the chick he's been dating? Travis Scott. Is that Stevie Wonder in the background? I don't know. I don't know a lot of the mainstream artists, guys. So sorry. Sorry if I got it wrong. He made this. This is what kicked it off. And then he kept going more and more and more. That he posted this picture right here. My account is not hacked. I will be I will be at Sunday service at noon, and we'll be taking North and Saint to the Super Bowl shortly after Shay thinks. I'll double. I can't read out the cutoff word. Whatever they're paying you, just so you don't have to something at pawn ever again. Big love. And everybody's like blacking out their profile picture. I don't know what that's about either. And then he just keeps going off the rails with this post. These are some of the posts that I screenshotted. Of course, a lot of these have been deleted. I'm sorry for those of you listening on audio podcast. I forget, but the first poster was an Avengers Civil War type of poster, and it's just like head cutouts of like Pete Davidson, Kim Kardashian, some other celebrities, including Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift. And then it's like against another row of celebrities, Kanye West, Drake, Travis Scott. All right. And then again, he just continues on. Here's some other ones. This is one that he posted and deleted. Age group assigned the actor Skeet to serve in some bigger narrative, but for some reason refused to give a stylist. I wrote that last part intentionally to be funny. Nobody knows what the hell is going on. Like I don't know what he's talking about. Oh, here it is. This is the picture he's commenting on. This ain't about Skeet, people. It's about playing his part in Frozen 3. Talk about Frozen. Why are these elements that are supposed to be unrelated? How do they connect? We just came from the convoy and Frozen hacked and all that. It is part in Frozen 3, except it's not in the theaters. This time it's on the Daily Mail. Tell Bob and the entire Disney staff you wasted your money on Star Wars and Marvel because even though it makes money, you'll never control the high schools. No one's ever heard a Machine Gun Kelly song, Bob. What in the goddamn? This is what the meme says. Okay, so I'm not just quoting this. I'm just quoting this. What in the hell are you talking about? That's what the meme says, and we're all wondering what the hell Kanye is talking about. He says, so Yandy memes. This is what this means. Disney owns Hulu. Oh, I see what they're doing. Okay, I see what they're doing. So this memer by the name of Yandy Memes, he put a meme at the bottom that says, what in the hell are you talking about? Because it just does seem like gibberish because Kanye puts all these statements out without context. Let me see what you guys are saying. You guys are probably like, what in the world's going on? All right, so this memer said, what the hell are you talking about? Responding to the comment or caption that Kanye says, this ain't about Skeet, people. It's about selling y'all a narrative. Skeet just playing his part in Frozen 3, except it's not in the theaters this time. It's on Daily Mail, talking about the news publication. Tell Bob and the entire Disney staff that you wasted your money on Star Wars and Marvel because even though it makes money, you'll never control the high schools. No one ever heard of Machine Gun Kelly. So then Kanye responds to the meme saying this is what that meant, memer. He said, so Yandy Memes, this is what this means. I know this doesn't make any sense, guys. I'm trying to understand Kanye as well. Disney owns Hulu, says Kanye. Disney wants to influence a wider age group. Disney assigned the actor Skeet, which he was referring to Pete Davidson, to serve in some bigger narrative, but for some reason refused to give a stylist. I wrote that last part intentionally to be funny. I joke while expressing my side, just like in SNL, which is I also gang with Disney. Bob fought Marvel and Disney to gain more influence in the teenage market. Ellen and Hillary been whispering in Kim's ear for years. You guys saw that recently. Kim Kardashian was hanging out with Hillary Clinton, right? So maybe he's alluding to that. But he's saying Ellen and Hillary have been whispering in Kim's ear for years. Skeet been wearing fake Trump hats to ridicule me for not being in my black place as a voter and throwing shots at me about mental health, he's a pawn. I'm not crazy. I wouldn't have had such a big impact on culture for the past 20 years if I was. This is a real narrative. Everyone else is afraid, but now what they played my family, it's up. I don't know. Like the way he writes, the way Kanye writes these things don't make sense to me, to be honest with you. I'm just reading verbatim what he's saying, okay? I'm reading verbatim what Kanye is saying. I don't necessarily know what the hell he's saying either. I'm just trying to understand myself. All right. So then he just continues posting. This is a picture of Pete Davidson, Make Kanye 2006 Again. He says in his caption, Kanye West, in his captioned post of a picture of Pete Davidson wearing this red MAGA looking hat that says Make Kanye 2006 Again. Make all black people vote one way. Sit down, Kanye. You don't have the right to be outside of the box. We put all black celebs in, and the prisons we put 25% of blacks in. No, you can't ever meet my children, boy. I mean, there seems to be something bigger going on, that more than like what meets the eye of these captions. You know what? Go back to my video on my main YouTube, youtube.com/Natly Denise. There's a video that I did. The thumbnail has Kanye and North, and I talk about all this, but he says a statement that was very like cryptic. And he talks about, I don't know who y'all work for. I don't know who y'all think y'all are working for, but y'all are not touching my kids. He said that. This is from Kanye. So I don't know if Pete Davidson has anything to do with that. And then he's talking about Disney and all these things, but this is bizarre. And I think like if you can kind of like put everything together, it's going to make more sense. But him just posting like that, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So anyway, that's Kanye. I don't know. Honestly, I'm just here to report what's going on in pop culture. I'm just here to report what's going on in pop culture. But Kanye is going off the rails. Let's see what happens tomorrow. All right, so next. Actually, you know what? My friend just sent me this video on what's called murmuring. So this happened in Mexico, Chihuahua, Mexico. Let me actually pull this up. Share. Okay, so before I pull that up, let me show you guys this. So this happened in Chihuahua, Mexico, where a bunch of birds, like they seem to be flying in unison, and all of a sudden they just kind of slam down. And a lot of people are wondering what the heck happens. Let's take a look at this video right here. You see just a bunch of birds. They're just in and then they just plop down. It looks to be, honestly, it does look like their flock, they just slammed down because they were disoriented. Is this on mute? Why is it on mute? I guess there's no sound in this video. But I did get an update to this because let me replay that part again. So these birds in Chihuahua, Mexico, they just they're in a flock, and it seems to be, you know how these birds, like, they'll make like formations and they'll just kind of turn. It's like a school of fish, right? They're just kind of all in unison together. They're just flying in a flock. It looks to be that they flew too low. And I think the bigger question is, why were they flying that low in formation, in murmuring? Because this happened. They were flying way too low. And then when they flew too low, I guess, I don't know why they didn't think they were in the air, but they slammed down. And that's what killed dozens of birds. And then you can see, I don't know if they show like all the birds on the street. I guess they don't. But these are all the birds dead on the street. Yellow-headed blackbirds in Chihuahua, Mexico. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for those that I should have warned you. So some people don't like to see dead animals. I apologize. But I wanted to show this because this could be a plausible explanation to why that happened. So it says, why did the other one didn't have sound? Okay. So this is a plausible explanation to why that happened. Mohammed Shafiq, this is a tweet that says, after seeing the conspiracy theorists all sharing stories of birds falling from the sky and blaming it on 5G, I thought it would be, I would put together a short video explaining the seasonal natural occurrence called murmuration and how birds can sometimes be found dead in numbers. So it looks to be like a big flock and they're in formation and somehow they disorient themselves and slam down to the ground, not kind of conceiving that they're not in the open air. So let's just take a look at this.
A murmuration is a large group of birds, usually starlings, that all fly together and change direction together, or the act of birds doing this. A starling flock like this is called a murmuration, a word that perfectly describes the rustle of thousands of pairs of wings. Starling murmuration happen during the winter months, roughly from October to March. The peak in numbers is usually December to January when more birds come over from Europe and join our resident birds. In large numbers, starlings can create a murmuration when huge groups of these birds gather together, moving in one large mass across the sky. They twist and turn into all different shapes during this sky show. Sometimes during a murmuration, birds traveling at speed can become disorientated, and can collide with each other, or even hit the ground. The birds stand no chance of surviving hitting the ground at such speeds, which breaks their fragile necks. Murmuration are a seasonal natural occurrence in which some birds end up dying in large numbers. This has nothing to do with 5G and has been happening since birds began to fly. Take care, keep safe and think twice before sharing that post claiming 5G is making the birds fall from the sky.
He was like, it's not due to 5G. Please think twice about people hate the 5G theory. People hate the 5G theory. Like, people become enraged over 5G if you talk about it. The Only Warnley says, I've never seen a flock that large. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen anything like that either. Fair enough. He says, fair enough. I mean, that's a plausible explanation. The only question that I have in this video from Chihuahua, Mexico, is why the murmuration was flying so close to the ground, unless they were doing like a murmuration, like sort of, I guess, shape or whatever in the air, and then they just kind of like inverted, and they were like gonna do this little number where they were gonna do this. You know what I mean? But then instead they've slammed to the ground. And for those listening on podcast, I'm doing my hands like a little dive, like I'm diving. You know what I mean? Anyway, okay. I spent so much time on this murmuration. I just want to explain it. Let's go ahead and pivot to the trafficking news. All right, let's start off with this. This is coming from Breaking 911. This is as bad as it gets. A homeless California man arrested in rape and murder of a 20-year-old autistic woman. It's already getting really bad in major cities because of the soft on crime policies that are happening. But this is one of the most horrific things that are happening, the rapes and the murders. There was a story I was going to start off with in Manhattan. An advertising creative was butchered with her own kitchen knife by an out on bail career criminal who followed her into her apartment, says cops, as he appears in court charged with murder. Prior victim demands that they lock him up this time. And it was a burglary murder. So this is a different story, but I'm just kind of trying to illustrate how bad it's getting out there. So pivoting back to this story here, different story. Homeless California man. So that was in New York, what I just read, but this is in California now. He raped and murdered a 20-year-old autistic woman. Sacramento District Attorney Anne Marie Schubert has announced the filing of criminal charges in the death of Emma Rourke, a 20-year-old high-functioning autistic woman. 𝘏𝘏𝘮𝘀 Rawls has been charged with murder along with several special circumstances, making his capital case. Rawls is also charged with kidnap, rape, sodomy, and an allegation that the victim was bound or tied in the course of the sexual assault. It also alleges that Rawls was previously been convicted with a first-degree burglary, which is a strike offense under California law. Criminalists in the Sacramento County District Attorney's Crime Lab responded with the Sheriff's Department and assisted with processing the crime scene. Evidence obtained from the victim matched a known profile to Rawls, and detectives from the Sheriff's Department obtained an arrest warrant for Rawls, which was executed Friday. You can't unsee this. It's as bad as it gets. Sacramento County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Jim Barnes said, "Now imagine the family has to deal with this and ripple effect what comes of that. This individual was transient. The sheriff's office is sympathetic to the transient population. We understand that people are experiencing hard times, but there is an evil amongst them, and that's Mr. Rawls," Barnes said. "We have got to be honest with ourselves. There's a population down there that will victimize people, and there's an opportunity." Now, this is graphic. I'm going to warn you guys. This is graphic description, so please heed my warning. If you need to turn away from this, here's your warning. But here is a graphic description of what they found. The Sacramento Update reported detectives found Rourke naked from the waist down, bound with rope, showing signs of sexual assault. A large scab covered the middle portion of her face. A black cord was tied around her neck, and she had injuries consistent with strangulation. The coroner's office later determined her death was asphyxia due to strangulation and said that she had been dragged across the ground before her death. After DNA analysis was done by the district attorney's office, who took swabs of Rourke's private parts and mouth, sperm from Rawls was discovered. That's the homeless man. His DNA was found on her breasts, anus, neck, vagina, and front knot of the ligature fastened around her neck. And again, this is just another product, just one more product that I talk about every single night. I rail it in that this is a product of soft on crime policies and bail reform that has been performed by so many liberal judges, councilmen. Like all this is happening in every single major city. This is a product of it. Why do we want to see horrific things like this happen? It's horrible. Continued on. This is coming from the Grenadines. St. Vincent and Grenadines. A hospital worker in custody, and this is coming from searchlight.vc, a hospital worker in custody as police investigate reports of possible human trafficking. February, Kingstown, St. Vincent, Carlton Richardson of Fair Hall, a male attendant of the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, is currently in police custody assisting an investigation that was launched into the reports of Vincentian woman, that's St. Vincent, so that's what they call a resident of St. Vincent, a Vincentian woman, who had been recruited as babysitters and housekeepers that are allegedly subjected to exploitation and possibly human trafficking. Richardson was detained by police in the Northwestern District after female resident reported to the police that on February 12, 2022, a male approached her and told her that he was seeking to recruit young ladies to work as babysitters and housekeepers for a white woman in the Grenadines. The police responded to the report, and Richardson was subsequently detained for questioning. An anti-trafficking in persons unit, ATIPU, advises the general public to be aware of persons offering lucrative jobs locally and overseas, and warns that that before accepting any job offers, ensure that it's genuine. And this is some good advice. You know, I know that this is based in the Grenadines, the St. Vincent Grenadines, Kingstown. But this is actually something that happens worldwide. This can be an American scam. This can be a Canadian scam. This can be in any country, wherever you reside in. So just take heed of that advice to make sure any, jobs like that are actually genuine. Check everything before you even take it or before you go to any location. This is imperative to your safety. All right. Moving on from the Indian Express, Mumbai, 3 spas are raided, 12 booked for running a sex racket. Obscene acts. The Kandivali police and Mira Bhayandar Visai police raided 3 spas last week and booked at least 12 people, including 5 women, for allegedly running a sex racket, which is a sex trafficking ring, and for being involved in obscene acts. In the first case on February 11th, acting on tip-off, Kandivali West, after ascertaining that the owner and the manager were running a sex racket and an FIR was registered under Section 373 of the IPC and Sections 3, 4, and 5, and 7 of the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act. The woman was rescued and sent to a women's shelter home. The owner, Ranjan Shetty, and manager, Manjikant Naidu, were arrested. Confirmed Dinkar Jazav, senior inspector of the Kandivali police station. In the second case, also on February 11th, the anti-human trafficking cell of MBVV, police raided Le Serene Spa after a decoyed customer ascertained that the masseuses were involved in obscene acts. A woman, a worker, manager, and owner of the spa were booked under Section 294 and 114. In the last case, February 12th, the Kandivali police raided Yuko Spa near Milap Theater in Kandivali West. 5 women and 2 men were arrested for alleged obscene act. The owner is accused in the case, confirmed Assistant Inspector Viraj Jagdale. All right, so I'm sure we're going to hear of any stings that were going on if they do report that for the Super Bowl. I'm sure we'll get more details as they crack open. But until then, this is what kind of news I have for trafficking. So I appreciate you all in your support. Thank you so much for tuning in to Unravel with Natly Denise, Nightly with Natly. Be sure to give this podcast 5 stars if you're listening on audio. Thanks so much for your support here on YouTube. I'm going to have to get back the Facebook connection. It lost connection on my Facebook. I'll have to get that back. But anyway, I love you all. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I will catch you guys tomorrow in another fresh new podcast with daily news. Have a great night. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Unravel with Natly Denise. Please give this podcast 5 stars.